I want to talk about a very specific, very heavy secret that a lot of us are carrying around right now. And we really don't want to admit it out loud because we feel like it makes us sound bitter, or maybe like we're just a bad friend. But let's be entirely honest for a second. Have you ever had this moment where you're sitting on your couch after a long day? Maybe the TV is on in the background, playing something you aren't even really watching, and you're just staring at your phone, slowly scrolling through your text messages. You look at your favorite group chat, or the thread with your absolute best friend, and this sudden, quiet resentment just washes over you. Because in that quiet living room, you realize something terrifying. You realize that if you didn't initiate the text, if you didn't pick the date, send the calendar invite, and actually make the dinner reservation, you would literally never see some of your closest friends again. I want you to know you aren't alone in that feeling. I love my friends dearly. I know you love yours. But sometimes, in the quiet of my own home, when all the emails are sent and the workday is finally over, I am so desperately, bone-deep tired of being the cruise director of my own social life. You know exactly what I mean, don't you? It's that familiar sinking feeling when you throw out a casual, "Hey, I miss you guys. Let's hang out soon," into the group chat. And you get back a flurry of enthusiastic responses. "Yes, I miss you too. Let's do it." So down, and then nothing. Complete and utter radio silence. The chat just goes completely dead for days, sometimes weeks, simply because you didn't assign a specific time or a specific location. You watch the days tick by, and that silence starts to bleed into how you feel about everything else. You start wondering if you're the only one who actually cares. You start overanalyzing their enthusiastic texts, wondering if it was just polite filler. And then comes that heavy, reluctant sigh you let out as you open the keyboard again. You feel that slight tightness in your chest, the tension in your jaw as your thumbs tap the screen. Okay, how about Thursday at 7 p.m. at the Thai place downtown? Knowing full well you are doing the heavy lifting again. You are doing the unpaid administrative work of maintaining the relationship. And here's the slightly embarrassing part. The inner monologue that we try to frantically push away right as we're trying to fall asleep. It's that quiet, nagging fear late at night that whispers, "If I stopped organizing, if I just dropped the rope, would I just fade out of their lives entirely? Would they even notice I was gone?" If you are nodding right now, if you have ever felt that specific, stinging ache in your chest, I need you to hear this. It is incredibly lonely to be the glue holding your social circle together. And you are allowed to love your friends with your whole heart and simultaneously feel completely exhausted by the administrative work required to actually see them in person. Those two truths can exist in the exact same space. You can be deeply grateful for their presence and profoundly tired of the process of getting them into the room. I want to know I'm not just speaking into the void here. Have you ever stared at your phone and thought, if I don't text first, I will absolutely never hear from them again? If you have ever felt like the unpaid, entirely unappreciated event planner for your friend group, I want you to let me know in the comments right now. Just say, "It's me," or tell me your story, because you definitely, absolutely, aren't the only one feeling this way. So once you actually send that text proposing Thursday at 7 p.m., the real work begins. And this is the part of the messy reality of friendship and adulthood that nobody really warns you about. The invisible, heavy administrative burden that comes with simply trying to see the people you love. You know exactly what this looks like in practice. You are sitting at your kitchen island, maybe picking at a cold dinner, staring at your phone screen as you try to wrangle 3 completely different adult lives. You are toggling back and forth between the group chat and your calendar app, trying to do the mental gymnastics of factoring in Sarah's hybrid work schedule, because she only goes into the office on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and David's custody arrangement, which means he absolutely has to be back to his side of town by 8:30, and Jessica's hour-long commute that always leaves her utterly drained. by the time she finally walks through her front door. You are practically drawing a conspiracy board with red string in your head just to find a single 90-minute window where all of you are physically available to sit in a room together. And once you finally nail down that fragile, elusive time slot, you have to find the actual location. Here is where the real exhaustion sets in. I want you to picture what your phone looks like in this exact moment. You probably have 25 different browser tabs open. You are squinting at tiny, blurry pictures of menus on Yelp, trying to figure out if a place is going to be too loud. Because last time you went somewhere trendy, you all spent 2 hours screaming over the bass just to hear how David's new job was going. You are trying to cross-reference Google Maps to see if there is a parking lot nearby, so Jessica doesn't have to walk 6 blocks alone in the dark after her long commute. And on top of all of that, you are frantically scanning the appetizer list to make absolutely sure there is something Sarah can safely eat with her gluten allergy. Suddenly, you look up at the clock on your microwave. It is Uheksen. Ombesh. P.M. You have been sitting in the exact same spot, hunched over your glowing screen, for 45 minutes. You just spent 45 minutes of your precious, desperately needed evening downtime doing unpaid administrative work, just to grab a single drink with your best friends. That is time you could have spent reading a book, taking a hot shower to wash off the stress of the day, or literally just staring blankly at the ceiling, letting your brain rest from the 10,000 decisions you already had to make at your actual job today. Instead, you spent it essentially working as an unpaid travel agent. And you will probably go to bed feeling completely drained, waking up the next morning already tired because your brain never actually got to clock out. And the absolute second that frustration hits you, the second you let yourself feel genuinely annoyed by all this effort, the wave of guilt washes over you. It is immediate, and it is crushing. You start beating yourself up. You hear that inner voice whispering, "Why am I so mad about this? I want to see them. I genuinely love these people. Am I a terrible friend for keeping score like this? Why do I keep volunteering to do this if it just makes me sit here feeling bitter and resentful?" You start telling yourself that you should just be grateful you have friends to make plans with at all. You convince yourself that feeling tired by this is somehow a deep character flaw. But I want to stop you right there, because I need you to hear something very clearly. You are not crazy for feeling annoyed by this process, and you are definitely not a bad friend for feeling completely tired. The mental load of logistics, the researching, the scheduling, the accommodating, is real, tangible work. It takes a massive amount of cognitive energy. It burns through the very limited, precious reserves you have left at the end of a long, stressful day. We have to start validating that planning is a chore. Even when the end result is something incredibly fun and deeply rewarding, the act of getting there is work. You are allowed to be excited for the dinner and completely exhausted by the fact that you had to be the one to build the table. So if we are all sitting here feeling so incredibly exhausted and then feeling so deeply guilty about being exhausted, how did we actually end up in this dynamic in the first place? I want to introduce you to a concept that completely changed the way I look at my friendships. It is called Executive Function Imbalance. Now, stick with me here, because I promise this isn't some cold clinical diagnosis that you need a textbook to understand. It is actually one of the most comforting, validating things you will ever hear. I want you to think all the way back to high school, or maybe your first year of college. Picture yourself sitting at one of those cold, heavy laminate desks, under those awful, buzzing fluorescent lights. The teacher has just assigned a group project. You are sitting in a circle with 3 other teenagers, and there is this agonizing, heavy silence hanging in the air. Nobody is speaking. Nobody is taking the lead. You can literally feel the awkwardness making the back of your neck itch. And finally, because your brain physically cannot handle the tension of nothing happening, you reach out, you grab the dry erase marker, and you walk up to the whiteboard to start dividing up the work. If you are smiling or shaking your head right now, I need you to realize something very important. You are still that exact same person who grabbed the whiteboard marker. You are just doing it with dinner reservations now. Because in almost any adult relationship, the person who has the highest baseline tolerance for logistics, the person who simply cannot stomach the awkward silence or the lack of a plan, unconsciously absorbs the entire mental load for the group. And here is the beautifully messy reality of that dynamic. Think about the last time you actually went to that dinner you painstakingly planned. You are sitting there in the booth, listening to the clinking of water glasses, smelling the roasted garlic from the kitchen. You look across the table and you watch your friends laughing, digging into the appetizers, eagerly swapping stories about their week. They are so genuinely happy to be there. They are so deeply grateful to be sitting in your presence. They aren't unappreciative of your effort. They are just happily and comfortably along for the ride that you created. Sometimes, when we are incredibly tired and feeling unloved, we sit in our dark living rooms and tell ourselves this really punishing story. We imagine our friends sitting in their own homes, twirling their mustaches like cartoon villains, actively plotting to take advantage of our organizational skills. We tell ourselves, they know I will just do it, so they are using me. They don't care about me at all. But let's be entirely honest for a second. The truth is, they aren't thinking about it at all. Over decades of stress, and trying to manage careers and families, and just the general, overwhelming chaos of being alive, our human brains naturally look for shortcuts. Your brain isn't broken because you plan everything. Your brain is just hyper-efficient. And your friends' brains have subconsciously learned a very simple, very natural shortcut. They have learned that they do not have to step up, simply because you always will. When I finally understood this, when I realized that my friend's silence wasn't a calculated insult, but just a deeply ingrained, unconscious habit, it was a massive emotional relief. It changes how you text them, how you sleep at night, and how you look at them when they walk through the restaurant door. Taking the malicious intent out of their silence allows you to finally put down that heavy armor you have been wearing. You can stop defending yourself against a rejection that isn't actually happening. Understanding that this is just a subconscious habit, just an imbalance in how our brains handle logistics, is where the real magic happens. Because it completely changes the conversation you have with yourself when you are alone. I want you to picture a typical Friday night. You just walked in the door, dropped your keys on the counter with that heavy metallic clatter, and you collapse onto the couch. You look at your phone screen. It is perfectly blank. No notification. Nobody checking in to see what you are up to. And you can feel that familiar, dark spiral starting to pull you down. You know exactly what that inner monologue sounds like, don't you? It is that harsh, highly critical voice that immediately starts whispering, "See? Nobody actually cares about you." If you aren't actively doing something for them, if you aren't making their lives easier, they completely forget you exist. You aren't really their friend. You are just their free event planner. In the past, that specific, stinging thought would have completely ruined your entire weekend. It would have made you toss and turn at 2 a.m, staring at the shadows on the ceiling, feeling so incredibly small and unloved. It would have made you short and snappy with the people around you the next day, carrying this invisible, heavy rain cloud of resentment everywhere you went. But here is the beautifully empowering thing about finally understanding executive function imbalance. Now, when that Friday night spiral starts, you can actually hit the brakes. You can physically feel the tight, panicky tension in your chest start to loosen because you suddenly have the tools to change the narrative. I want you to think about the people you love for a second. Really picture their daily lives. Picture your friend who is currently drowning in the chaos of toddler tantrums, the one who spent her entire afternoon sitting on the linoleum, scraping dried oatmeal off the cabinets while a 2-year-old screamed at a pitch that literally makes your ears ring. Or picture your other friend, the one who is utterly burned out from a toxic boss, sitting at their desk, rubbing their dry, tired eyes after their 4th brutal, demoralizing meeting of the day. When you really visualize what they are surviving on a random Tuesday afternoon, a massive realization hits you. Their absolute inability to open an app, scroll through reviews, and pick a restaurant for Thursday night has absolutely nothing to do with their feelings for you. It isn't a measurement of their love. It is simply a measurement of their capacity. And I cannot overstate the profound physical exhale that comes with finally letting go of the story that your worth in a friendship is strictly tied to your usefulness. I want you to just take a deep breath right now and let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Think about how much lighter you feel when you finally decouple their lack of planning from their actual affection for you. It is such an incredible, life-altering relief to separate logistical laziness from love. When you finally stop viewing their empty calendars as a personal, targeted rejection, you stop breaking your own heart. You stop walking around feeling like you constantly have to earn your spot in the friend group. Instead of being angry at them, you can finally look at yourself with some real, gentle compassion. You can take a breath and honestly say to yourself, I took on this role because I am highly capable. I stepped up because I know how to get things done, and I deeply wanted to see my people. But it is entirely, perfectly okay that I am just so tired of playing it. So, we have established that our friends aren't secretly malicious, and we have finally let go of the heavy, resentful story we were telling ourselves. But that still leaves us with a very real, very practical problem in front of us. You are still exhausted. So, what do we actually do about it? How do we find some peace without blowing up the entire group chat and losing our people? If you spend any time at all scrolling online, you have probably seen the standard internet advice for this exact situation. It is always something incredibly drastic. The internet loves to tell us to run the silent test. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The advice is always to just drop the rope, go completely dark, and see who actually reaches out to you. And I completely understand the temptation to do that. I really do. You sit there, feeling so burned out, so invisible, and you think to yourself, fine, I am just going to stop. I am going to put my phone on silent. I am going to stop trying, and I am going to wait and see who actually cares enough to notice I am gone. It feels empowering for about 5 minutes. It feels like you are finally taking a stand and protecting your peace. But let's be entirely honest about what actually happens when you run that silent test. It doesn't end with a dramatic movie moment where your friends show up at your front door in the rain, weeping and apologizing for taking your organizational skills for granted. What actually happens is, you end up sitting on your couch for 3 months, feeling intensely isolated, intensely bitter, and completely alone. You watch the seasons change outside your living room window. You feel that heavy, cold knot of resentment growing in your stomach every single day, and it starts to poison how you interact with everyone around you. It ruins your sleep. It makes you cynical, and the absolute most tragic part of the whole thing? Your friends aren't sitting at home feeling guilty at all. They just assume you are really busy at work, and they are politely giving you space. We do not have to aggressively cut people off to find peace. We don't have to torch our friendships just to get a break. There is a softer, much kinder way to shift this dynamic, and it involves carrying the weight of adulthood together. Instead of going silent, I want you to imagine picking up your phone and sending a simple, honest, incredibly vulnerable text. Just typing out, hey, I miss you guys so much. But honestly, my brain is totally fried from work this week and I have zero decision-making energy left. I would really love to see you. Can one of you pick a place for us to meet up on Thursday? I know sending that might feel terrifying. Your finger might hover over the send button while your heart beats a little faster in your chest because you are breaking your own established pattern. But a lack of planning from your friends isn't a lack of love. It is just a lack of capacity. And sometimes, you just have to give the people who love you the explicit, clear opportunity to step up and take care of you. It is perfectly, wonderfully okay to ask to be taken care of for one night. You deserve to experience the sheer, luxurious relief of pulling up to a restaurant that someone else researched. You deserve to push open those heavy glass doors, walk over to a table that someone else reserved, sit down, and just eat the warm appetizers without having done a single ounce of math to get there. You deserve friendships where you get to just be a guest sometimes. We have a lot more honest conversations about the messy, beautiful parts of being an adult right here,